Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, my name is Lachlan Tatum, and you are tuned, for want of a better word, to the program which we call Dusting Off the Mirror. The mirror being the Bible. The mirror being the Bible. And in my estimation, it's the greatest book of all time. Amazing book that teaches about life. So we're going to be dusting it off and seeing what we may learn from it. It's amazing insights. See what we can learn from those insights about human life. That is the objective of this program. And my name is Lachlan Tatum. I'm from the lovely island of St. Kitts, where I live in the Caribbean. And you can find me on Facebook if you want. LOUGHLINTATEM. You can send me a friend request, and if you're not rude and disrespectful, I will accept it. So we have been looking at the book of Genesis for the past month, probably going into 2 months now. And tonight or today, wherever you are in the world, we are at Genesis chapter 8. And we are going to look as deeply as probably chapter 12. And we're going to notice a few things. And if you want to, you can go back and listen to the previous episodes, because I have no intention of returning to them. You can always listen to the other programs. So let us notice a few things about Genesis chapter 8, verses 8 to 12, and the little investigative attempt, the little investigative effort on the part of Noah, and his reliance on the dove. He tried to investigate to find out whether or not the flood had subsided, and he did so by sending out a dove. The Bible says Noah sent out a dove, and the Bible says that it was an investigative effort. The Bible does not necessarily use those words, but Noah was investigating to see whether the water had completely abated, whether it had completely dried up. And he used the only technology he had at that time. He didn't have any satellite, he didn't have any TV, but he used the bird technology. And he sent the bird out and to see whether the earth had completely dried up, because remember, the earth is a massive place, and according to the Bible, the flood didn't just take place where Noah lived. The flood took place across the globe, across the world. That's what the Bible says. It covered the earth. Now the dove returned, as we saw last week, to the ark, and it returned because it could not find a landing place. It could not find a place to settle down. And the dove did the right thing, because doves can't swim. They cannot swim. 7 days later, in verse 10, 7 days later, according to verse 10 of Genesis chapter 8, Noah repeated the investigation. He sent the dove out again. He sent it out again. This time, on this second attempt at the investigation, the Bible tells us that the dove returned in the evening. It had been out all day, and it returned with a sign of life. the dove returned with a sign of life. It had a piece of bush in its mouth. It came back with a tree leaf, a leaf from a tree. And Noah was able to gather from that things were growing again outside there. There was hope. Things were growing again. There was hope. There was a new beginning. That's what the bird implied to Noah. That's what Noah was a brilliant man. And we're going to see his brilliance as we go further on. But he didn't just see a bird coming back with a dove. It had significance. It meant that there was a new beginning. Things were beginning to spring back. And the dove is a creature that builds nests to carry on its procreation. The poor dove probably did not intend to tell Noah anything. The dove just wanted to build its nest. That's all the dove wanted. But Noah saw, as a human being ought to, he's a human being, and the human being has a broader depth of understanding of things than any animal could possibly, or any bird, any beast can possibly have. So the dove is a creature that builds nests and for its own procreation. Doves do not eat bush. Doves do not eat leaves. It uses the leaves to build its nest. And there was Noah gathered that there was new life springing up. Noah, looking at what the bird brought back, recognized that there was new life springing up out there. Now Genesis chapter 12 says that Noah sent the dove one more time. He sent the dove out one more time, and this time the dove did not return. The bird did not return. The bird could not survive outside there if there was water all around. God spoke to Noah in verse 15. The bird could not survive out there if there was water on the earth. The bird did not return. It was clear to Noah then that, oh well, survival was possible out there. And he was correct. Now God spoke to Noah in verse 15. God spoke to Noah and told him to leave the ark. God spoke to Noah and told him to leave the ark. Now, let us notice that, as we said earlier, the dove indicated to Noah, or implied, as far as Noah was concerned, that life was coming back. That's what Noah read into what the dove did. The bird did not come back because life was coming back. The bird did not come back to the nest. It was a clear indication that life, to Noah, that life was returning. Good. Now, Noah knew very well that birds and human beings are not the same. And just because a bird can live out there, does not mean that a man and his family are able to do it. All right? So Noah remained where he was, in the boat. He did not know, as I said earlier, man's survival and birds' survival out there are two totally different things. Noah also did not know what God was going to do next. He didn't know. So Noah did not know if God was satisfied with the rain and the flood, doing the rain thing and the flood thing alone. Noah did not know whether God was going to send something else before he let him out. Noah did not know all of that, whether something else was going to happen. Noah did not know if the dry land alone was what God wanted to see, whether God was satisfied with just seeing the land returning to its former state. Before, he did not know what God was waiting for to give him the all clear to come out of the ark. So Noah stayed put on the ark. Now, God finally, Noah did not just jump out, right? Noah did not just jump out. No, God finally gave Noah, finally after Noah waited and waited, finally gave Noah the all clear to leave the ark. Now, the instructions that God gave to Noah about what to do were quite detailed and quite clear. God said to Noah, you, Noah, clear details. Listen to it. Noah, you, your wife, your sons, and your son's wife, all the living things, whether they are birds or cattle, and things that creep, so that they may all be fruitful and multiply on earth. Go out in the world, be fruitful and multiply on earth. And verse 10 and 11 tells us that Noah did exactly as the Lord had told him to do. You, your wife, your son's wife, all the living things, whether bird, cattle, and things that creep, so that they may all be fruitful. Let them go and be fruitful and multiply. Verse 10 and 11 tell us that Noah did exactly as God had told him. Interesting so far. Noah, a very patient man, did not say, oh well, I'm going out the ark because it looked like things are dry. He waited, and God came and told him, everybody must leave the ark. Very specific. Very specific. Now, in chapter 20:21, Noah took some of the animals and he built an altar and sacrificed the animals. The Bible says that God was pleased with Noah's actions. But in verse 21, God says that the heart of man is evil from his youth, yes, but that he, God, will not again destroy every living thing. Not because of man. The flood did not change man's heart. The flood did not change man's heart. It was still evil and desperately wicked. But he promised he will not destroy the world again. No. He did not say he will never. He did not say he will never again. He did not say that he will never again punish people. God did not say that he will never again punish people for doing wrong and for doing wicked things. He's saying, listen to what he's saying. He will never again destroy every living thing. That's what he said. In other words, some living things will always be left alive. He is not going to destroy all living things again. Some living things will always be left alive. Some living things will always be left. Now, he did not say what the living things that it left will be. Okay? That's clear. He did not say what it could be. Could be worms. He did not say, he said he will not destroy all living things again. But he did not say what the living things that were not destroyed will be. It could be worm, it could be germs. Germs are a living thing too. It could be a human cell in the human blood. I don't know what he was not going to destroy. We do not know, but he said he will not send a flood to destroy every living thing again. When it comes to the Bible, I tend not to miss things. You know, I tend not to miss words because I find the book is extremely fascinating. We do not know what it was that he would leave alive if he did destroy the world again. We do not know. So it is clear that he could wipe man out. It is clear that he could eliminate man and leave worms. Hard for us to think, but it's possible. Right? I do not know. All I know is that he's saying that he will not again destroy all living things. That's a promise. We do not know what that really means. Of course, we can speculate about what it means. We may be arrogant enough to believe that man will be left alive if there is a complete wipeout again. But we cannot say that for sure. All that God has promised is not to wipe out or destroy all living creatures again. Right? Those few words are important. He has promised not to destroy all living creatures again. We don't know which one he may not destroy. God also says that he will not curse the ground again because of what man did. Read the Bible for yourself. The qualifying term in 3 words are for man's sake. He is going to not destroy everything again for the sake of man. So perhaps man will be left. I don't know. We don't know. But God specifically, he specified that specific act. But he specified what he will not do, which is, he said he will not curse the ground again. God said he's not going to curse the ground again. But it does not mean that he can't or he won't do other things. Repeat that. God said he will not curse the ground again. But it does not mean that he can't or he won't do some other things. He is very specific. God is very specific. Very specific in what he says. He said the ground will never be accursed again. Now, it does not mean, this is very strange. And I like to take the Bible just as he said, but I like to think about the implications of what he said. He said very specifically, the ground will never be again cursed. But it does not mean that the skies won't be cursed. It does not mean that the wind won't be cursed. It does not mean that the sun or the moon or the stars or man's eyesight or his children, or his home, or his efforts and work and so on would not be cursed. He said he will never curse the ground. There are many, many, many other things that he could curse. God will always have options. God is never going to deprive himself. According to the Bible, God is never going to deprive himself of options. If he says he's not going to do that, it does not mean he's not going to do this. Because, and the reason for this is because the heart of man is wicked, and the rest of the Bible shows us that man has not changed. The balance of the Bible after the flood tells us by what man is doing and what man has done after the flood shows us that man ain't changed. And that man will always, 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 always need to be put under strict management and strict control. If God sent 50,000 floods, man still will be in danger of being whipped because his heart is desperately wicked. So, promising not to curse the ground does not mean, God's promise not to curse the ground does not mean that he would not curse the atmosphere. Does not mean that he would not send plagues of illness. Does not mean that there won't be war. Or even curse man himself. He ain't gonna curse the earth, but he may very well curse man himself, so that he won't be able to do anything on earth that is not cursed. Always read between the lines, because in the lines, on the lines themselves is not where the truth is. The truth is always in what is not said. The truth is always in what is not said. People come and tell you, and they sound true, but behind that sounding true is something they did not say. Where the lie is, the truth is always in what was not said. And the same thing with God. The truth was in what God did not say. God did say he was not going to curse the earth again, but the truth is that there were other things he could curse. That's the truth. So we need, as human beings, to listen. Because there is always something else, we as human beings need to listen and to pay attention to what people did not say. Rather than what they say. As human beings, we should listen to what people did not say rather than what they did say. You could listen to what they said to you, but listen keenly for what they left out. People do not like you when you are able to pick up what they left out. They want you to listen to only what they say and not what they left out. So if you're listening to God, even if you're listening to God himself, you listen to what he says, but you also listen to what he did not say, or what he implied, or what he's suggesting. That's why we have a brain in our head, because the God that we believe in is not going to cross every T and dot every I for us. We are not little babies. And this is where wisdom kicks in. It is the wise who will survive, because it is the wise man or the wise woman, who will hear what has been left out, or what has not been included. That's the wise man or the wise woman will hear what has not been included in your statement. God here is specific. He says, he's specific. I will not curse the ground. I cursed the ground for the first time. He cursed the ground for the first time around. But he's saying, I will not curse the ground again. In verse 21. But those who are listening carefully to God will know that he did not say, he did not mention that he will not curse the clouds. He did not mention that he will not curse the wind. He did not say that he will not curse the rain. He said he will not curse the ground. And this is exactly why it says in verse 20 of chapter 8 that Noah built an altar to the Lord, took every clean animal and clean bird and offered a burnt sacrifice on the altar. Why did he do this? He did it because Noah knew that man's heart was wicked and evil, and that punishment will be always again necessary. The method of punishment may change. Noah knew that the method of punishment may change, but for man, punishment, restraint, warnings will always be necessary. The onus and the duty is upon each one of us to find the self-control that we need to behave. Unfortunately, for the people in Noah's day, they had a leader. Fortunately for the people of Noah's day, fortunately for the people in the ark who were saved, they had a leader who was able to hear what God had not said, but understood the implications of what God meant. And there are leaders who can only hear what is said. There are political leaders who can only hear what is said. There are leaders of business and companies who can only hear what is said. But they miss completely what was not said. In churches, in businesses, in politics, an advisor may come, or another preacher from outside may come, and he says he will do this and he will do that and he will do the other, and what was not said by him goes right over the head of the leader, goes right over the head of the prime minister. What was not said goes right over the head of the head pastor. I mean, it's amazing. He does not hear the corruption. He does not hear the exploitation, the intention to exploit. He does not hear the half-truths. He can't imagine that it includes. He cannot imagine that it includes greed and exploitation. All he hears is about the money we're gonna get. All he hears about the money we can make from our. And I don't want to get into no politics. All he hears is money, and totally misses. He misses what was not said. Noah did not do that. Noah heard what God said, right? That he's not going to destroy the earth again. But Noah also heard that God was saying it doesn't mean he's going to destroy other things, right? He misses these days, these leaders, as I was saying earlier, miss the implication and the corruption, the implication of corruption and incomplete facts and intentions, evil intentions. God never promised not to punish people again. God never promised not to punish people again. He promised not to wipe out all living things by the use of a flood again. Of course he did. He did say he was not going to wipe out things on people with flood again, but he never promised not to punish them. Note carefully. There is no promise. There is no promise not to erase humanity from the earth. God did not make that kind of promise. But there is promise not to erase humanity from the earth with the use of a flood. God did not say he's not going to erase humanity again. He said he's not. Read the Bible. He said he's not going to do it again with a flood. He might do it to the meteoroid out the sky. Boom. And everybody gone. He may do it to a pandemic. But he never promised not to wipe out the human race again. My name is Lachlan Tatum, and I hope that you did gather even one thing from what we said tonight, and we'll go away not just listening to what people say, but what they do not say.